Who's gonna show up tonight? What's up, Roy? Trying to get my call warmed up a little. What up, John? Y'all been practicing your elk calls? Y'all, I don't know if you saw my post earlier, but we'll give it a few minutes to let everybody get on. But anyways, Roy and John, whoever else is there, I think I'm gonna go try out for the damn World Elk Calling Championship in Utah. I know I better start practicing. What up, Ryan? Man, that's the only thing that sucks. A lot of these reeds that I use, you guys, they can't stand a day's worth of me ripping on them, really. A lot of times during elk season, I'll go through usually about a call a day. What up, Chad? Yeah, I hope everybody kind of gives a shout out whenever you guys come on. Sometimes I don't see all the comments. I apologize. Brian, you got your hat, dude. Good. That's awesome. I was hoping that was going to stump some of you guys. A lot of y'all were like, oh, the pack. Man, I honestly believe that no matter what pack you have, you can make do and try to, make it work for you if you have to haul meat. But when you're in the mountains, guys, you would not believe how much the trekking poles help you whenever you're hauling meat and, you're going from the backcountry out to your truck or whatever it might be. Even whenever I'm packing into camp, I've got my bow strapped onto my pack, and I use my trekking poles pretty much all the way to camp. So trekking poles is a huge thing. What up, T Hawker? Glad you made it, dude. Finally, you get to be on a live, man. You've been saying for the past several, like, dang, I missed it again. T Hawker, everybody, Burnett, Texas. Good buddy of mine from junior high school. Anyways, I'm here. I wanted to do it outside. I apologize if you can hear my neighbors' music or people mowing or whatever. Anyways, I'm here for y'all. Questions, whatever y'all have. I got the bow out. I can go grab the backpack if you guys have any questions or anything about it. Yeah, just getting ready. Stuff is happening left and right. I'm headed to Utah next month for the World Elk Calling Championships. I'm about to order me a whole bunch of reeds and stuff so I can get to practicing. I've got about a month and a half to get practice up so I can go out there and do a little competing. Total Archery Challenge is there in Park City, Utah. Any Utah people that want to hit me up, I'll be at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation World Elk Calling Championship and the Total Archery Challenge event that weekend there in Park City, Utah. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't have a clue how to do the whole elk calling competition. So that's going to be pretty new to me, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. Chad Jones says, when elk hunting, how many pins are needed and at what yards? So Chad, this is what I would tell you, man. Whenever you really learn how to call and you're confident in your calling, Kyle and I, we've shot our bulls, several bulls, within that 45 yards and under. And I'm talking like last year, I killed one at 45. I can think of Kyle's last year was 8 yards. I killed another one at probably 25 yards. All that I can think about has been like under 40, man. There's no reason to try, and unless you just think you're a pro archer or something, there's no reason to try anything past like 45 or 50 in my opinion. But I don't know how you shoot, dude. So really, whatever you're comfortable with, like I can't tell you should only shoot 30 and under, right? I mean, I've killed several deer at like 60 yards and more, but that's my comfort zone. And like my comfort zone for deer, believe it or not, is a longer distance than what it is for elk. And maybe that's because I've lost several elk in my whole time frame of elk hunting. I've lost a couple at close yardage, and that's because I didn't stop that bull or something like that, or I took a marginal shot. But you just need to figure out what your comfort zone is and then stick with that. Don't go outside of it if you don't feel comfortable shooting at a target. A lot of times, like whenever I practice, sorry about my dogs barking, y'all. A lot of times whenever I practice, I'll step back to like 60 yards and then I'll take my first shot from 60 to 70 yards because I want to know what it's going to be like. Like if I'm elk hunting for several days and then I finally get to take that very first shot on an animal, am I going to be deadly? And then that's how I figure out my comfort zone. That's how I've figured out like 60 is that's my limit. That's where I stop whenever it comes to deer hunting. Elk is like 45 or 50 yards. I want them to be just a little bit closer because I want that shot to be completely perfect. I hope that answers your question. Decent 40. Yeah, Chad, decent at 40, wouldn't try 50. So just so you guys, like my practice regimen, y'all, I'm shooting at 80, 82, 100, 90, 70, 72. I mix it up between 60 and 100. And then whenever I get into that 20 to 40 yard range, it seems so close that I can damn near just rip it back and shoot it because I feel so comfortable because I've been shooting at those super long distances. All I would say is just shoot your bow as much as you possibly can and know your comfort level for sure. How many elk have you harvested? John, so this is a very good question, dude. I've harvested 3 elk myself. I've been part of harvesting 5 with calling and all that. Now, whenever I say harvest, I have put my tag on that many bulls, right? 2 bulls and 1 cow, all right? But how many elk have I shot? I've shot one every single year that I went. You guys hear me talk about me making the mistakes and rushing shots, stuff that, me not stopping the bull. There's been 4 different occasions where I have shot a bull, y'all, within 30 yards of me and haven't been able to recover it. To me, I still consider that to be a successful hunt because if you can get an animal within bow range, especially an elk, and get an arrow into them, I consider that to be a success. I'm not necessarily proud of not being able to find those bulls. But a lot of times I was hunting by myself. One of the times Kyle was hunting for me or calling for me, and he called in a bull, and giant bull, y'all. I swear that I popped him right in the pocket, and the arrow went all the way through. It actually landed on a couple of junipers on the other side of the bull. And then we backed out, waited an hour. I recovered the arrow and still couldn't find the bull. And days of searching, you know. So that's the amount of elk that I've actually taken home with me. I've shot one every year that I've went, except for one. We had to come back early, and I wasn't able to hunt my full amount of time. But anyways, that's pretty much it. But the past 3 years, or the past 2 years, I've been successful, and man, called in a ton of bulls into that range, you know, that bow range. Yeah, that's kind of it. What other questions we got? Oh, I was going to tell y'all also, any of you Central Texas boys and girls, y'all are more than welcome. I think I've got like 3 spots open. We're going to do a Flatlander kind of meet and greet hike out at Enchanted Rock. I've actually purchased 10 spots. So me plus 9 of y'all, and I think I've got 3 of those spots open. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to show up, and I covered the permits and the parking passes and everything. So any of y'all that want to come out, we're going to do a loaded pack hike on June the 13th. It's on a Sunday. We'll meet there at Enchanted Rock at 8 a.m. and then we'll probably hike till about noon. We're going to do a summit hike, and then probably 4 miles total, and then we'll go do some lunch and beers and stuff like that. Besides food and game bags, what else do you carry in your pack? Brian G asks. So Brian, I carry, so whenever I'm headed into base camp, there's a lot of stuff in there. Everything from my whole sleep system, which has, we'll call it a sleeping pad, a sleeping bag, the hammock, and my tarp. I used to sleep on the ground, but I don't like to do that anymore because a lot of times it rains during the middle of the night. And I don't want to have to worry about my spot getting flooded or anything like that. I carry I carry my hoodie. I carry another mid layer. Usually on like a 10-day hunt, I'll carry 3 to 4 pairs of socks and a couple pairs of underwear. I've got 10 days worth of food, drink mix, snacks, all that stuff. Of course, I've got my bow. I'm trying to think. I've got a kill kit in there. I've got like a first aid kit that will be kind of just some tape and some blood clot pads, and just some stuff if it's just an emergency and I have to get down off the mountain, I've got enough there to just bandage myself up and get out. Water filtration, a cook set. My backpack. I wear the same pair of boots. I told you about the socks and stuff like that. I don't pack a whole lot, man. When you really get out there and you really see what you actually use from a day-to-day basis, you'll be surprised how much stuff that you don't even touch on your first few trips going. You'd be surprised. I had my cousin and a few guys come through there, hunt with me in Colorado 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been 2 years. Anyways, a couple years ago, and they brought so much crap, and I wanted to go through their backpack and tell them what I thought they needed and what they didn't. They didn't want to listen to me, so they brought everything that they possibly could, and it was one of the most worst hikes that I think they've ever done. So you don't need much to survive out there on 10 days. You'd be surprised, man. Because most times you're out hiking around, and if you're doing enough hiking during the day, you're so tired when you get back to camp, you just eat and go to bed. That's it. Roy King said, do you use one of those inReach? I don't use an inReach, Roy, but I just recently, most of the spots that Kyle and I have hunted, like in Colorado and even in Oregon, way back in the backcountry, when you get up there at elevation, you'll find that most of the times you have cell service. So most of the places that we hunt, I can hike up. If I have to, I can hike up a couple hundred feet usually and get decent cell service. And a lot of times I've got a good enough cell service where I can post right to YouTube or Facebook or anything like that. So I am going to be using a Zoleo was the name of that that deal. It enables you to use your phone, and you can text back and forth with anybody everywhere at any time, even whenever your phone does not have service. What else, y'all? Bring those questions on. I do still have, just to give you guys, a few of y'all that's on here, I do still have a couple of videos that's coming out for the Exo Mountain Gear stuff. I want to give a long, basically extended review over the past 2 years of me using the Exo Mountain Gear 4800, and then I'm gonna give another review on the new Exo Mountain Gear 6400 if any of y'all are interested in purchasing a pack or anything like that. Yes, this right here, that's all prickly pear. They're just now starting to bloom right now. Terry Mapes. Where you at, Terry? Where you from? John. Go in some detail on calling setup, emotional calling, etc. Yeah, man. So let's give me a scenario, y'all. Nice, Terry. Welcome, buddy. What up, Fish Trap Hunter? Give me a scenario, John. Have you been hiking all day and you think you're in the area, you're seeing fresh sign, but you want to you're not getting any responses? I mean, there's so many different scenarios, y'all. First thing that I can tell you is, like, if you go back and watch some of the videos that I've done just this past season, like with me and Kyle, even the season before that, if you go back and watch some of those hunts, y'all, some of these call-ins, if I do get a bull to respond, sometimes these call-ins can take 45 minutes to an hour of me going back and forth with the bull, bugle, cow call, raking. I mean, it's something that you just cannot give up on, right? To me, if you're doing like a cold calling setup and nothing's responding to you, it needs to be at least an hour, or at least 40 minutes to an hour, okay? You don't have anything responding anyway, but you have a good idea, or you think that there are elk there. There's no reason for you to get up and move. If the thermal's in your face, you're up above like a bedding area or something like that, y'all, listen to the difference. Like, whenever you talk about putting that emotion into your call, right? Let's listen to the difference between just a cow call and then a cow call with some emotion, okay? Regular cow call. That's just kind of cows talking back and forth to whatever elk, right? But if you're asking like a bull or something like that, and you're trying to put that inflection, that emotion into it, add a little bit of voice. So whenever I'm making that call, it's yeah. Then I put a little bit of voice into it to ask that bull to come over to me. And sometimes it's not necessarily just the voice. You can just draw it out a little bit longer. Can you hear that difference? It's a big difference between just doing a and then you can add your voice into it. You hear that rasp? That's asking that bull or another cow even. If you have a cow that's responding to your cow calls and you have a cow tag, y'all, give that it's really like a contact buzz. You're asking that other elk that's responding to you to come over so you can see them and meet them. You're new, you don't know anything. You're asking them to come to you, like you're pleading to them, come here, come here. As you ramp up that emotion, you can go from nothing, just a regular cow call, and start ramping it up a little bit. You hear that? When you start hollering like that, I mean, any elk that's out there is pretty much going to come running to you. But the situation has to be right? If you start blowing that and there's a herd bull with cows and there's nothing really hot over there, next thing you know, the cows are going to come running over there to you because you're begging them to come over there, right? So make sure that the situation is right to use what call. Don't just go as soon as a bull, like let's say you do this, right? You're trying to locate some elk and a bull responds to you, right? You start off with just the cow call. You're searching for other elk. And then you get a little response. A bull just bugles to let you know that he's over there. Nothing real serious, kind of gives you a little chuckle or whatever. If you immediately start hitting him with that contact buzz, he's gonna be like, what in the world is her problem? You know what I mean? He just asked you actually with that chuckle to come over there to him. So it's all situational. If you cow call and a bull does this to you, he's not just asking you to come over there. He's telling you you need to get over here right now, right? And that's no time for you to contact buzz that bull. No, it's time for you to take off running towards that bull, depending on the distance. It's time for you to take off running to him and let him know that you're coming to him. And then cow call your way all the way to him in an excited kind of cow call. This is what you're gonna do. And you're gonna run and run until you get too uncomfortable or until you know you're within like that, I don't know, 80 to 100 yard mark. And then you set up there, and once you get to that destination, you just shut up. And then that bull's gonna think like, where the heck's she at? I just heard her. She ran damn near all the way to me. So then he's going to bugle at you again, okay? He might give you a little roundup bugle like that, right? The next response that you should give him is just below that contact buzz, all right? And then give him some time and hope that he starts working his way towards you. Be on edge, be ready to go. At the same time, like way back before when he first responded to you, you need to make sure that you are paying attention to the wind and everything before you just start blowing right in there straight to the bull. Always make sure that your wind is right. But then once you've sat there for a minute, he's going to respond again, wondering where you're at. That's when you hit him with that contact buzz, asking him that he needs to come over there to you. Maybe you're hung up in some brush or you just don't know about the situation, so that you hit him with this. Then he's going to come right over there to you. Not always, but you've got to remember, y'all, to give it some of that time. You can't just think that just because you rushed over there to him that he's just going to come marching right up to you. Sometimes it might take an extra 15 minutes because he's just not that fired up, right? So every situation is completely different, and you just have to decide, like what he is saying to you and what you are wanting to say to him, right? So let's go back here. Looking to do some elk hunting. Chad Jones says, looking to do some elk hunting next year. Does New Mexico have public land hunts for elk? Yes, sir, Chad, they do. And the cool thing about New Mexico is they don't require points or anything like that. So all of us non-resident guys are jumped up, bundled into the same group. And everybody has the same opportunity. It's a little bit expensive, I'll be honest, to apply to New Mexico. But man, if you can get drawn, it's excellent elk hunting. The opportunities are really, really good in New Mexico. The problem is it's just hard to get a tag. Night, Roy. Good seeing you, brother. Brian G says, I bet the neighbors are out on the porch looking for an elk. Yes, sir. Here in Central Texas. What other questions you guys have? I know I kind of sprung this live up on, but man, anytime that I can chat with y'all and answer any of your questions or anything like that, that's what I love to do. Anytime that I can, just conversate back and forth with you guys and answer any questions, get you ready. Elk season's going to be here before you know it, y'all. Just less than 3 months away, or right at 3 months. Anybody have any cool summer plans? Going on any cool trips? I know I'm fixing to head to Utah next in July. World Elk Calling Championships. Hopefully, I got to start doing some practicing. I know that. I think mainly on like my chuckle, for sure. Y'all out shooting your bows or anything? I got this sucker out. I've had me a couple of beers, so I don't know if I can even hit it. Hopefully everybody's been practicing. Hopefully everybody's been working their legs, getting everything ready. This bow shoots so good. Hopefully you guys are practicing on your calling. That's a big, big deal, man. There are spot and stalk opportunities out there, y'all, but it's so few and far between, especially if you're going to be doing, like public land, over the counter stuff. Man, I would definitely recommend that you know exactly what to do whenever it comes time to call. What are we going to do, a 100-yard shot? Terry Mapes said, just finishing right now. Chad Jones says, I used to live in Roswell, New Mexico. What is the process to get a tag in New Mexico? You just have to apply, man. Apply. You have to buy a license, and then you apply, and then you wait. Unfortunately, the draw is already over with, so you got to wait till next year. Unfortunately. White Lightning said, when we gonna see the 100-yard hog killing? Dude, it's in the list of stuff that I'm editing right now. I've got the Exo Mountain Gear stuff actually ahead of it. I kind of put the trailer out there to see what kind of response I got. I think there's a few people that might be mad about me going out and killing so many pigs and not eating them all. You know, it is what it is. Here in Texas, we have such a huge problem. They're basically like rats. And, you know, I go out and I kill a lot of pigs, y'all, and I don't eat all of them. You know, some people are kind of upset about that, which I get it. You know, I'm killing an animal that doesn't necessarily deserve it, but they are invasive and they do a lot of damage out there. That video is going to come soon because I don't really care. You know, people don't understand that don't have hogs in their areas. So it is coming. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to edit it. I want it to be as tasteful as possible, but at the same time, I want you to understand that these pigs are super invasive and they destroy so much habitat for turkey, deer, and all kind of other wildlife here in the state of Texas. Not only just wildlife, but like fish and you know, they destroy river banks and river beds, and it's really it's a huge problem. And without people like me going out trying to knock down some of these herds, they would just become so overwhelmed on farmers and even people that raise like goats and sheep. They have a bad problem with these pigs actually going in and killing some of the lambs and some of the small goats and stuff like that. So, you know, it is what it is, but that's why the channel's demonetized, is because I don't like to hear any crap about any of that. You know, whatever. Yeah, I say screw them too, White Lightning. 100-yard shot. I don't know if I've got, yeah. Y'all want to do a 100-yard shot? There's only a few of y'all on here. Not many questions being asked. Let's see what we can do. I gotta watch out because my truck's right here in the way. We've been getting tons and tons of rain out here. Y'all get to see, I told y'all I lived in a mobile home, rent-free, no mortgage. Can y'all see the target? Yeah, you can see it. Just barely. My wife's gonna be pissed that I showed the house. Gaming first responder. This is an 80-pound bow, brother. 80 pound. It's a brand new Hoyt Venom 33. All right, let's see how far this is. I don't know if it's 100 yards, but it's probably around 80. something like that. Can y'all see the target back there? It's that orange dot right there. $82 yards. It's getting dark too. Ready? It's my last good arrow in this quiver. $82. I hit it. I don't know where I hit it. 82-yard shot. How many of y'all, oop, I'm losing my tripod. How many of y'all practice out to 80 or 90 yards? Let's see where I hit it. And I've already got a 6-pack in me, y'all. That doesn't count. If I didn't hit the bullseye, put my bow up. What other questions you guys got? Yeah, man, I had the canoe flipped over white lightning. It actually blew off of that trailer during a storm last night, and I had to move it out of the way. And it's got a little rack that I usually keep it in. Ooh, I think I hit that one high, y'all. Super high. See that? First shot, 80 yards, 82 yards, hit it a little high. I want to see, let's see here. Yes, sir, Brian G. Happiness is key, brother. My house is definitely paid for, and so is all my property and everything. John Turner. Man, what got me into hunting, dude, is I actually I grew up hunting, and I grew up poor on the east side of Austin, Texas. I grew up on the east side of Austin, Texas, a little town called Del Valley. If y'all ever fly into Austin, it's the same town that the airport's in, which is Del Valley at Bergstrom Air Force Base. Anyways, man, that was the only way that we could eat any meat back in the day. My mom and dad they didn't make enough money for us to buy steaks or anything like that. So we ate wild pig and deer and fish right there off the Colorado River whenever I was growing up. So that was always kind of a thing to me. And now that I've gotten older, I've just learned that man, it's just so much more fulfilling, you know, to go out and be able to provide your own meat for you and for any of your friends and family or anything like that. You know, people don't even, I don't know. I just think it's just such a healthy way of living, really. And that's what's kept me hunting. But, you know, me and hunting's been a part of my life, you know, since I was born. Blue collar family. We couldn't just go to the grocery store and, you know, buy whatever. It was always usually deer meat or pig meat for us. Practice for 70. Yes, sir. Man, I practice all different kind of ranges, y'all. Anytime that I can, I try to shoot my bow as much as I can. It's always good to just be practicing. For sure. Y'all have any questions? That's what I really want to get at. Yes, sir. Country boy will survive. And I would say, like, practice every way that you can, y'all. Whenever you're shooting, try to rip it back and just pop a shot off as soon as possible, and then try to rip it back and hold that shot, hold that draw for as long as you possibly can. It'll help you for sure. Chase Slider says, are you concerned about the wind at all when you are moving through the mountains and trying to locate, or just focus on wind once you're located and you're moving in on them? No, Chase, I always try to keep the wind in my favor, if that makes any sense. So a lot of times when Kyle and I are getting out there first thing in the morning, we go as high as we can because we want to be above the elk. Once the thermals change in the morning around 9:30 and they start blowing uphill, we want to be in a position to where we can be above the elk at all times. So we're always paying attention to the wind. But if a bull announces himself, then we see what the wind is doing currently and we monitor it the whole time we are going after him, because you would be surprised. You get within a couple hundred yards of a bull and all of a sudden the wind is doing something different. And that's because the area that he's in, he's probably there because he knows he cannot be like stalked in on, right? So make sure you're paying attention to the wind the whole time that you're going, regardless if you're just moving through an area or if you're moving to an elk. Make sure that you're paying attention to the wind. That is key for sure. And then Fish Trap Hunter said, what boots do you recommend for elk hunting? All right. So I've been through a ton of different boots, y'all. I've worn Crispy, I've worn Solomon, I've worn Irish Setters, I've worn what was the other one that I had? Red Wing, I believe it was Red Wing. All of those were fine for 1 year. And then the next year or the year after that, they would leak, and it rains all the time in the mountains, especially in Colorado. It seems like every afternoon we get a rainstorm, or it gets snowed on us for, something crazy, and we end up having to spend 4 days in snow, and boots are a huge deal, okay? I now wear Crispy Nevadas. I've had these boots. I bought them brand new last July, and I've worn them through so many different situations, okay? In elk season, I wore them through 4 days straight of snow, hiking through the snow, between 4 to 10 inches of snow in 4 days. The end of the 4 days was like 10 to 12 inches, and they performed phenomenally. I mean, just my feet were warm, and these are non-insulated Nevadas from Crispy, Nevada, Kentucky. Whenever I went to Kentucky on my whitetail hunt there, whenever I was with Keith, it rained for 4 or 5 days straight. And I can physically remember using my boots as like mud boots, right? I'm trying to walk through stuff that's deeper than ankle deep with these Crispy boots, and never did my feet get wet one time in 4 days of straight rain over there. Then Arizona, Kyle and I got another 10 to 12 inches of snow in Arizona, another 3 to 4 days straight of wet snow, and then it melting. So I want to say it was like 4 to 5 days in Arizona with the Crispy boots, and my feet were just as dry as can be. They do tend to get like a little bit damp, but I just think that's from like my socks and my pants and stuff soaking in some of that moisture. I do wear a pair of Gators. I use the Sitka Gators. I don't necessarily like them 100%, but they are great for the situation. They tend to slide off of my calves and slide down over an hour or so, and I always have to pull them up and readjust them. But with that being said, they have actually worked great as far as the waterproofness of keeping my boots and everything dry. Crispy boots, man. I would highly recommend them. They're $400. I found them with a $50 discount and got them for $350. I've had them for a whole year now, and I mean, I've been hog hunting with them in the rain, several deer hunts, elk hunt in the snow, rain. I'm just thinking about all the occasions where even y'all, I'll be honest with you, I wear them at work a lot. I weld. They're bulletproof. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I put it to the test. I'm going to tell you that right now. What else? Any other questions? Kyle, grouse commander. Yes, sir. He'll whop those grouse down, man. We never go hungry whenever we're in the woods. That is for sure. Bo's feeling good. Can't wait. Can't wait for season. What other questions, y'all? Elk hunters, there's 12 of y'all out there. I know there's got to be somebody. I know there's probably some people that are sitting there right now, shy, not asking a question. Y'all, I've got my bugle out here. I've got my calls, whatever you need to know. Somebody just dropped off. They're probably a little scared. Don't be scared, y'all. Ask me a question. I've been out there. I've done it. You know, the situations are endless as far as the stuff that I failed on that I can tell you about. So hopefully it's something that you can learn off of, you know. Who's there? Nobody? Shot placement on elk. Yeah, John, shot placement's everything, man. I don't know how many elk I've forgot to stop or didn't stop and end up. One bull, I shot him in the liver. Another bull, I took a frontal shot that I thought was just money, and I ended up hitting a little bit low and hitting him into the brisket. And, you know, we ended up tracking that bull for miles, dude. And it was devastating to me, you know. So shot placement's everything. I would go listen and watch to the Elk Bros podcast. Joe does a great job of explaining where he wants you guys to shoot. And I agree with him 100%. Don't take that frontal shot if you're not 100% on it, right? If that bull's not just like 8 yards or 10 yards and you know you're going to punch it right in there perfect, don't take the frontal, y'all. 2 holes is better than 1. Take a broadside shot. Follow their leg, okay? Follow their leg straight up and then go to the right or the left. Go back behind that leg about 2 to 3 inches and you're going to hit all lung there. Like, don't crowd the shoulder and try to get it right in there next to that shoulder blade and get a heart shot. It's so much better to get a double lung shot and get 2 holes in that bull to where he's bleeding out both sides, and then there's no question when you get ready to find them. Chase says, do you use a decoy? I have carried a decoy many times before in the past, Chase, but I don't use a decoy anymore because whenever I'm calling elk, I don't necessarily want them to see an elk, if that makes sense. Now, I know guys that love the decoy and they they swear by it, right? But whenever I'm calling to an elk, I want that elk to be engaged with my calling, and I want him to be searching for an elk. And as soon as they see an elk, they tend to just stop and hold up there rather than continue searching and moving forward and closing the distance to me with a decoy. As soon as they see that decoy, then they're going to lock onto that decoy. Not saying that they won't come any closer, but they might not advance anymore once they notice your decoy. They might hang up out there at 100 yards because your setup is not correct. Like, I try to call elk into a super tight setup. I don't want to see the elk until he is within bow range, okay? And when he's in bow range, I don't want to give him something to look at, being another elk, right? I want him to be searching for that elk that was making the call. So then he's liable to walk right past me and give me that 10 to 20 yard shot. That's the reason I don't like a decoy. Not only that, I don't want to have to worry about trying to open it up and get it out of my pack or whatever the case might be and get it to where the elk can actually see it. You know what I mean? I want them to be continuing to search for the elk that was making the calls. And with a decoy, if they see it, they're gonna stop, y'all. They're gonna stop and they're gonna try to be like, okay, that thing is not moving. And then they get a little hesitant. Next thing you know, they start to circle around downwind. And that's not what I want. I want them to keep coming to where I made my last call, or I want them to keep coming to my caller that's set up 80 yards behind me. That way they can't see my caller, and it's gonna pull that animal right past you and give you that perfect shot. It's getting too dark for y'all to see. I'm down to keep on going. I'm gonna plug this light in right here on the old truck. A little bit of light. Yeah, man, that's what I would tell you about using decoys. I don't think that they're a bad thing by any means. They're just not something that I like to worry about or deploy. If I do my calling right, those elk are going to come right into me, and I firmly believe that. What else, y'all? There's 10 of you guys. There's got to be some more questions. Here's a little tidbit for you. So the most important call that I think you could be able to make would be a nervous grunt. And that nervous grunt is gonna stop that elk for you. Let's say you're just hiking up the mountain. Kyle and I did this a couple years ago. We were walking up the mountain. All of a sudden we bust a bull out of his bed, and immediately the first thing that I did was I barked at him. I didn't even have my reed in my mouth. I just barked at him through a whistle to get him to stop. I did that, he stopped immediately, and I was able to knock an arrow and then draw back and shoot this bull while he watched me the entire time, you guys, because I gave him that nervous grunt, and that's demanding a response from an elk, okay? Here's what it sounds like with the call. A lot of times they're gonna give that whenever they bust you even. If they smell you or if they see you and know that that's not an elk, then they're liable to give that response and bark, okay? And that's asking, like they are asking whatever they saw or whatever they heard to show their self or give a cow call. So the first thing, or basically identify their self, okay? I wanna make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. When you hear that bark, they're asking you to identify yourself. Same thing. When you give that call to an animal that's trying to run away, they're going to stop, turn, and look at you because you are demanding them to identify themselves, okay? So practice that. When you're getting ready to take a shot, do that bark so you can kind of get used to it, okay? Boom. Just get used to making that noise. Get used to doing that bark and nervous grunt. If you guys don't know like some of the calls that I'm talking about or anything, make sure that you have the Elk Nut app, y'all. You can listen to the noise that you need to sound like, and then you can record your call and play it back side by side with the sound. And if it doesn't sound like it, then you need to improve. And you can get to the point to where you're making all of these elk vocalizations without any problem at all. Just call me Karen. No questions here except who instilled the love of the hunt, the thrill of the catch, and the desire to excel. This is probably not the occasion for the answer, but I would love to know. So I don't even know how to pronounce your name. Jill OM 48. Oh, dang. 4812 KOK LOL forever. Whoever that is. Message me below your real name and where you're from. Jill OML 4812. That's crazy. Here's what instilled the thrill for me, y'all, is I can remember from back whenever I was a little bitty kid how awesome that it was just so cool to me on the hunting channels and the outdoor networks that there were these people that got to go out and hunt, and that was their job, was to provide hunting content for people like you and I to just view on the screen and dream of these giant bucks and all this stuff. I always dreamed that I would have my own hunting channel myself. And YouTube has given me that opportunity. Now, I'm not making any money off of this, so it has actually turned into something kind of a little different, where the response that I get from people that are learning to do this for the first time in their adult life just blows my mind. And for me to be able to help people go out and learn the skills to feed their self off of wild organic meat out of public lands that you and I own together, that is huge to me. Like, you teach a man, or you give a man a fish, then you feed him for that night, right? You teach a man to fish and you feed him for the rest of his life. And the way things are going in our country, and the way I just see, it's not good for humanity to get your groceries delivered to you at your door. That's not the way we were meant to live. We were meant to chase our food and respect it to the 100th% of degree. Like, we've gotten away from how hard it really is in some places to go acquire your own food and feed you and your family or your tribe or whatever it might be. And I just think that as we move forward in today's society, there are a lot of people that could benefit off of hunting and learning to hunt and providing meat and, you know, these sustainable resources that are out there in the wilds of America for us to go out and harvest. And I want to teach people that. I don't know how many times, you know, I've thought about making videos about folks that live in the city and that rely on all these services and stuff like that, and rely on these, you know, rely on these big supermarkets and stuff to provide them with food. And to me, y'all, there's so much food out there for you to go get yourself. And not only that, heal yourself with the nature that's around there. Nature is so good for you. It's not even funny. Like, even if you don't hunt, anybody that's on here that doesn't hunt, you guys, the hunting is just a part of it, right? Really, it's about getting out there into nature and seeing where we all really came from, is what I believe. I hope that answers your question, cousin Karen. Now I know who you are. You know, Karen, I thought about doing Patreon, but I want, if I have subscribers that that can't afford to pay for certain content that I might provide that helps them harvest animals or something like that. That's the whole reason I haven't gone to Patreon, is because I don't want to provide any additional content for people that can afford it and keep it away from people that can afford it. I think Patreon is a really cool deal. And here's what I would tell you. If you want to support me monetarily, order a hat at Flatlander Hunt at Yahoo, and you're more than welcome to pay whatever you want for that hat. I ask that you pay a minimum of $30 for the hat. You know, that pays for the hat and the, you know, the shipping to go out. But if you want to pay more, I've had people pay upwards of $100 per hat, and they can, you know, support me monetarily that way. Do you ever hunt water holes? Brian G asked. Brian, I used to back in the day before I learned to call elk. Now that I call elk, I don't like to sit and waste my time. Ooh, I just bit my cheek. I don't like to sit and waste my time on water holes. I like to be covering country and finding the elk in their bedding areas and calling to them during the middle of the day where they're going to be most of the day, right? They're going to be in their bedding area most all of the day if they don't get bumped out of it. So that's why I go into the bedding areas. I get way up high in the mountain, and I don't like to waste my time because, man, you might not know it, but 2 ridges over, there's another water hole that might be their favorite, and they don't hit the water hole that you're sitting on for 3 days. And to me, by covering country, even if you're slowly covering country, you can still get in there and find those elk in their bedding areas and be able to hunt them during the daylight hours, instead of some elk might water at night, or they might come through there so early in the morning that you don't realize it, man. And you're sitting on a water hole that they're not going to hit during legal hunting hours. And I don't think that's a good idea. What up, Mr. Brian Wilkes, my cousin, everybody? Yes, man. Order the hat, Karen. Flatlanderhunt at yahoo.com. You can hit me up for a hat there, and you're more than welcome to pay whatever you want. Same thing on Venmo, and I think what's the other app that you can pay or whatever? PayPal. I think it's Flatlander or at Flatlander Hunt on Venmo and on PayPal, or Flatlander Hunt at Yahoo. Adam asked, this September is wild with the moon phase. I usually hunt 3rd or 4th week. However, I am thinking of going the 4th through the 11th because it will be no moon and less pressure. Thoughts? So Brian, I don't ever really pay attention, or I'm sorry, Adam, I don't ever really pay attention to the moon phase. Um, I, a lot of people can't always take off on the moon phase. Don't get me wrong. The darker it is, the better, and the more activity I think you'll have during the day. But with that being said, even if the elk were out all night on a full moon and they're all fired up and then they go to bed early, I'm hunting them in their bedding area. So I know that I'm going to be in the areas where the elk are anyway. And I don't really care if they're active during the moon or without the moon. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to hunt them the same either way. It really doesn't matter to me if they're up all night or not. Brian G says, great info, man. Thanks. You bet, dude. Yeah, I just don't like to waste my time with any of the water holes. And as far as the moon situation goes, sometimes I've hunted on full moons and sometimes I haven't. And the results are all the same because I make my opportunities happen rather than waiting for them to happen. I go and I'm actively pursuing elk all day long. I don't go out in the morning and then once 11 o'clock hits, I don't go back to camp. If anything, it's completely opposite of that. Sorry for the whippoorwills, y'all. If anything, it's completely opposite of that. If anything, I'll stay at camp until I know the thermals are correct, and then I'll go up the mountain, circle above the bedding areas that I think the elk are going to be in, and then I try to move into those areas. I don't ever let the weather or the moon or anything like that dictate my hunt. I'm going to push in there no matter what, and and just I'm going to try to find the elk, and I'm going to try to find some that are trying to call to me or that are responding to me or that are going to come into a call, a calling setup or a cold call setup, really. You bet, Adam. I appreciate your question, and thanks for tuning in, man. Anybody else, y'all? We've been on here a little over an hour. I'm going to be doing these live sessions probably once a week before we go into elk season. I will be. I'm going to be traveling to Utah here at the end of July. I'm going to be going to the World Elk Calling Championships along with the Total Archery Challenge. So if anybody's out there in Utah and y'all want to meet up at the TAC event, give me a holler. And then, it's just going to be complete chaos between July and September whenever I leave out to meet up with the Elk Bros in Colorado. I'll also be doing some scouting in Colorado at the end of July. You guys can message me or do anything like that. If you want me to cover a question while I'm out scouting this summer, or if you want me to maybe highlight something in a video that I look for while I'm scouting, I will be filming that whole process before I go to Utah. So I'll have, hopefully I'll have a little bit of information there. Yeah. Any other questions before we wrap this deal up? I really appreciate you guys, and all the support has been phenomenal between the Elk Bros. I've been doing a podcast with them once a week. I know I've got a lot of traffic coming off of their podcast coming over to the Flatlander channel. So I appreciate all y'all that are hitting that subscribe button for sure. The channel's growing. We're getting close to like 2,800 subscribers, and it's growing by about 100 subscribers a month. Yeah, Chase. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you said that. Chase said, look forward to the hike. I do have 3 spots available. Brian Wilkes, if you want in, anybody that wants to go with me on a hike to neighbor passing by, anybody that wants to go on a hike with me to Enchanted Rock on June 13th. That's on a Sunday. We're going to meet at 8 a.m. That Sunday, June 13th. I've already paid for all the spots. We've got 10 spots. 7 of them have been taken already, so I've got 3 spots left that are available. Email me at flatlanderhunt@yahoo.com. And you can sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to show up there at Enchanted Rock, and you can hike with us. It will be a loaded pack hike. I plan on doing about 4 miles, and then we'll go do lunch afterwards and answer any questions, or even dive into my pack, and I can show y'all what gear that I'm using or anything like that. So hit me up if you want to go do the hike with us here in Central Texas. It's a super awesome place. If you haven't ever been to Enchanted Rock, I think it's one of the largest granite formations in the United States. It's giant, really. I'm super excited to have a few of you guys. John Turner says that I'm awesome. Thank you, John. I've got a new pink Phelps amp call for you, and he said that I'll give it to you on the hike. And then Brian G said, do you shoot fixed blade or mechanical? I know last time you said Grim Reaper 150 grain. Yeah, so Brian, whenever I'm hunting elk, man, specifically elk, I shoot a fixed blade broadhead. I don't like to take the chance with the mechanical because we're dealing with such big bones. I prefer the Grim Reaper 150 grain with the bleeders, so it's really a 4-blade. And then off season, I've been trying out the Grim Reaper 150 grain on the pigs. They've been doing great. I've had a couple of blades that are broke completely off of the broadhead. And I do have that video that's going to be coming up. I'll probably do a little video on broadheads here coming up soon. But I've got a few more that I want to try out, and I want to get a little more footage for the pigs and for the pig hunting video. But hope that answers your question. Fixed blade for elk. Heavy setup is what I like to use. And then for deer and pigs and stuff like that, the mechanicals work fine. I haven't had too much of an issue with any of the mechanicals there. So thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you are brand new. Hit me up if y'all have any questions, anything like that. Love you, and have a good Memorial Day. Thank you to all the vets out there who have served our country well, and we really appreciate your service. You have no idea. Thank you for letting us be free. See ya.